Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with the extraordinary Julie Anderson. In part 1, we explored her remarkable career in modeling and her deep insights as a writer. Today, we're picking up where we left off to dive further into her experiences, her thoughts on life, and what's next for her. Join me as we get back into it now. When you think about the idea of a modern femme fatale, strong, empowered, and unapologetically herself, how does that resonate with you personally? How do you see that archetype reflected in the different phases of your career and your life?
Femme fatale, I really feel is like a woman that doesn't give a shit. So, a woman walking down the street with a trench coat on and like some rock and roll t-shirt and like sneakers. And she's like marching forward. Her hair's a mess and she's just like smoking her cigarette. She doesn't give a shit, but she's a femme fatale.
Yes.
She's sexy. She's in her power. She's not paying attention to anybody. I feel that. I feel that like for modeling at the same time, like I would look at the other models that would walk in and they would just like own the situation. I'll never forget being on a photo shoot out in the desert. Stephanie Seymour pulled up out of nowhere in a Corvette convertible, pulled up, jumped out of that car, and she was just like, I'm here. And again, she didn't give a shit. The girls that I went into the fashion shows, I worked with them all. They didn't care. Now, maybe they did care, but they really had a good veneer over them. And meanwhile, I'm inside going, people are looking at me in the wrong way.
So what do you think the difference was then?
I don't know. Like now, as I go along and like I've done Feminine Collective and I see these people, like for instance, I'm telling you, these people from these major backgrounds that have had major accomplishments, they were hiding under that. So maybe these people, these women that I looked at that I thought had it all because they really were just like, devil may care, I'm perfect, or not perfect, but I am who I am. You're going to accept me and we're going to rock this. Right. So maybe they did feel like, like they were less than as well.
Yeah, it could have been a front, but it's a tool as well, act as if, and you will become.
Now, the femme fatale now, I guess as I get older, I like to see women of all body shapes and sizes with their different fashion sense. You come across them like, for instance, my job now, we'll get into that later, maybe, I don't know. But one of the people that knows what I do and is a little avid fan, she's adorable. And I recently came across something where she was referencing what I do. She's like, maybe she wouldn't stand out to somebody that's just looking at that kind of vavoom kind of, dripping with this appeal, young in their 20s, walking around with a miniskirt. She wouldn't fit in that. She wouldn't fit in that at all. But she's the most beautiful person I've seen in a long time because there she was on video displaying what it was that she got from me. Going, look at me. Aren't these the best? I feel really great in them. And I was like, oh, that is a femme fatale. That is what it is to me. No.
She's not trying to be anybody but herself, it sounds like. Yeah, I see a lot of women in their youth, well, like in their 20s, when they're exploring what it means to be a woman still through fashion. And you'll see them walking to where they're meant to be in this outfit that they very clearly feel uncomfortable in. And I think that they will soon learn that maybe sexy is actually feeling good in your skin. And
oh my God, you just reminded me. Back in the beginning days, I had a contract with Estee Lauder. And I was going to the party to celebrate that. I was dating a guy, a male model, who's since unfortunately passed away.
Oh.
Anyway, we were going out and I had a mini skirt on that literally, if I bent over, you would see everything, right? And I remember him saying to me, he said, Julie, you don't have to dress like that, You're fine the way you are. And so I've remembered that. It's snuck in here and there, moments, here and there. So like what you're saying, I have some girls now that I know that I guess they look up to me. I don't know if they look up to me or not, but they are in the industry, young models. And I see them and how they present themselves, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
breaks my heart.
Like, I know there's a body positive movement out there, like wear what you want. And I think body neutrality is a better way to go, where, everything you wear is a signal.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, it can be a little sexy, but it's something that I feel comfortable wearing.
What are you inviting in? What is your message? What
Yeah.
feeling in yourself that you're trying to convey? Maybe you do want to date. Maybe you do want to meet somebody. So maybe you do want to be as appealing as possible. But do you really need to go that far? My dad, it was weird because he had this thing where he would say, if it takes you longer than 15 minutes to get dressed, you're overdressed. You've done too much. Longer than 15 minutes to do your makeup, you've got too much makeup on. So like those moments when me in the past, maybe even you in the past, or these girls out there, they stand there and they go, oh my God, should I wear it shorter? Should I wear it longer? Do I, la, 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 la. It's too much.
Yep. You've crossed the threshold. Now just step back a little bit. So one thing that I had to get over, being a Vegas girl, high heels were the way to go everywhere you went. And then October 1st happened there, where we had a really big shooting at a concert.
I remember that.
And that really changed the way I dressed, or that I approached dressing. I really thought, I do want to wear something that I can be comfortable running in if I have to.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, like I realized what a hindrance high heels had been to women, that they make you incapable of running away from danger, So I like high heels in the bedroom, but I don't really like them on the street anymore.
I think that comes from the ancient Chinese practice of foot binding.
Oh, I could see that. High heels were a development from that. Yeah, because your foot is forced into that shape of a high heel. Oh my gosh. Well, and then what's his name? Christian Louboutin famously stated that he doesn't make heels for comfort, and it became kind of normalized with us.
I can't even walk in a pair of high heels. You saw that on the shoe. I just can't even. I can stand there. But even when I was younger, I would say, just help me in, prop me up at the bar, and that's the end of that.
I mean, I used to wear the hell out of them, but now living in New York City, there's just no way, even if I wanted to,
I saw a girl the other day that she was walking in a pair of Louboutins. The heel was like this. And I felt so bad for her. And her first thing, what was it, around 1:00 in the afternoon? And I was just like, girl, you don't need that shit.
I know, carry them in your bag.
Yeah.
Put them on when you get where you're going. But maybe she was a tourist thinking they need to really dress it up when it's more the sneaker life here, which I love.
Yeah.
All right. So we all know historical femme fatales like Rita Hayworth or Lauren Bacall. How do you think the femme fatale image has changed for modern women? Is there a contemporary figure who embodies the archetype for you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a hard question, I think.
It really is. It really is. Nowadays, I don't know. I mean, I would say Kamala Harris is a femme fatale.
Great answer. Oh my God.
I mean, the intellect, all of it. She's fierce.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, she's fierce. Actress wise, because society has always said, look to the entertainers.
Right.
Right. So if it's going to be entertainment, Hollywood glitz, I would say Cate Blanchett.
Oh, she's it. She is it. Maybe Tilda Swinton.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So as you have gained more life experience, what has surprised you the most about leveling up, otherwise known as aging, whether it be positive or negative or both?
Okay. First of all, what surprised me, and this had to do with stress, but like it hit menopause in my I think it was like 46, 47. And I was still thin, right? So I've suffered from body dysmorphia, which, to this day, but again, it's kind of like, okay, whatever. Um, I was doing good. And then probably like a year ago, I all of a sudden looked like I was 5 to 6 months pregnant. I am not kidding.
Girl, I can relate.
I don't
No.
eat a lot. I mean, I don't eat a lot, but then again, upon reflection, um, my lovely man that I'm with, you know, wines and dines me. And it's not like we eat like overeating or anything like that, but it was consistent. Do you know what I'm saying? The
Yes.
wine, all of this stuff. So I think that built up. But then I finally went to a doctor and had all my hormones tested. She was like, you don't have estrogen, you don't have testosterone, and your thyroid's dead. So, I mean, that kind of made it all kind of clear. So that,
Hmm.
I think, is aging. I think a lot of us face that once we hit that whole time period.
Don't you think in our youth we may have heard that could happen to women? But I always thought it would not happen to me because I eat healthy, I eat clean, I have not an athletic lifestyle, but an active
Yeah.
lifestyle. So
Yeah.
I thought I'm not going to become my mother through all of this, but it happens.
It does happen. And I do think, again, I think it's, obviously it's genetic. It is. I'm kind of, my beautiful mom, I have a lot of her attributes. But yeah, I mean, I think stress has a lot to do with it. I
Mhm.
really do. I think we are under an enormous amount of stress. All of us. It's society. And that was the other thing about Feminine Collective. I did not want to present what society said we should be, right?
Mhm.
And don't give a shit. Be yourself,
Femme
right?
fatale vibes, baby. Femme fatale.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going for it. Everybody's just spilling it. Everything that we experience as women is in those essays. It's
Yeah.
freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So, I know you've spent significant time in New York City. What are some of your favorite places in the city, especially places that give you that femme fatale vibe?
Honestly, femme fatale vibe. I don't know if I necessarily feel that anymore. I like to look nice. I like to dress nice. Obviously, like everybody does, but at the same time, my wardrobe is like, forget about it. But femme fatale, again, is like being comfortable in your own skin. I have
Mm-hmm.
a nice relationship now where it's probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, where I'm comfortable in my own skin. He doesn't tell me I'm beautiful all the time. Maybe he should tell me a little bit more. But he did tell me, he said, he said, he rattled off like 5 things that he loved about me. Like beauty was number 6.
Wow, that's good.
So yeah, that is good. So that has given me a lot of confidence where I can just like throw on whatever, walk out the door. So maybe that is femme fatale. But okay,
Yes,
I do have lighting is everything. Lighting is everything, girl. If you
I
have a
agree.
and it is, my God, but I was such a spoiled little bitch in Paris. I'd walk into a restaurant and go, "You've got to turn down the lights. This is ridiculous." And they would. They would. Um, yeah, lighting is everything. Balthazar is one of our favorites. I don't know if you
Oh,
like ever follow me on Instagram or anything like that. You'll see we have lots of, hi, here we are again at our favorite place. Um, love it. We love the bartenders. We've made friends with them. We've made friends with the owner. We just love it. It's like a family vibe. So I recommend that restaurant Beyond because they know who you are. If you go in like twice, they'll go, hey, and they treat you really well. I mean, they treat you really well from the beginning. Um, how do I announce that name from Don Quixote? Is that how you say it?
El Coyote?
El
It's
Quixote. Always massacre names. El Quixote at the Chelsea Hotel, another one.
yes.
I'm telling you right now, even the vibe of that hotel. Um,
Can I interject and just say, oh, this is a funny story for us, I think.
yeah,
So when we I don't know, we went out with our men and we were talking about some of our favorite places. And I was mentioning how I loved Cafe Chelsea.
Yeah.
And they gave me that vibe where they were like, oh my gosh, look at the two of you. You're so stylish. Like, I hope you'll come back and become regulars. They really said that. And I felt so welcomed. And so, of course, we became regulars.
Nice.
And I was telling you that, and you guys were telling us about your favorite place being one of them, El Quixote.
Yeah.
And then Mother's Day happened, and we talked the day after. We're like, so what did you do for Mother's Day? And you're like, I went to El Quixote. And I'm like, I went to Cafe Chelsea. We were right next door to each other.
I mean, let's face it. I think that Chelsea Hotel, I've always been in love with it, even in its dog days.
Yes.
I just saw, like other people, just saw something about it. It has been refurbished. And I think it's sexy. What I think is sexy, number one, is that lighting, but I like an eclectic kind of like artistic mix. I've always been 1920s to 1940s girl. And there's artwork from the 70s and the 80s. It still gives me that old school vibe.
It does.
It still does. And I find that really sexy. The last restaurant I'll tell you about, and then we can talk about some other places, is my friend's place called Salinas. I think everybody should go there. Everybody should go there. It's like take on food from the Basque region, Spain and France, and talk about sexy light, talk about vibe. It's got it all. And again, that impeccable service. They remember who you are. You come in there, and you just feel like $1 million. You feel like you own the place. It's awesome.
Give me more of that. I'm definitely going to visit.
Yeah.
So, what are some self-care practices or rituals that you consider essential for maintaining your emotional and mental well-being?
Well, okay, so good question. I don't care what city I'm in. The main thing I need is sleep. Now, my whole life, people have given me shit about the fact that I had to take naps. Now they're finding out that naps are like imperative. Sleep is like the most important. It's more important for me than it is to eat food.
Wow.
I don't sleep. I am messed up. Now, when I was writing those books, again, I was in like a very frail mental state, but I was an insomniac. And so that brought me to a place of where I could be creative. Now I'm back to normal, but if you left me alone, if people left me alone, if I was like by myself, girl, I would sleep all day long, stumble out of bed at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then kind of start my day.
So maybe high thread count sheets are a must.
You know me. You know me.
I love that.
You know what else I do? And I've been doing it since I've lived here. I've always loved him, but here it's like every single day, it's just my thing. I take baths and I have Epsom salts. What is it, Dr. Bronner's? There's this one with hemp. Oh my God, the way it smells is insane.
You know, one thing that surprised me moving to the East Coast, what the hell is wrong with the bathtubs? Like, they are so tiny here.
You sound like you have more of a European bathtub.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And every place we looked at actually had this ridiculous tub. And in pictures, I thought it must go down further, but no, it didn't. So that's a bit of a bummer, but whatever. I make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, let's switch gears again. So we recently had the chance to work together, and I'm curious, what was it like stepping back into the studio in front of the camera with me after a little bit away from modeling? Can you share what the experience was like for you and what surprised you the most or stood out to you about the process?
Okay, first of all, working with a woman, like I mentioned earlier, because again, I have not worked with a lot of women in my career. As far as being behind the camera. But, you know, we had Margaret Avery, who's my favorite makeup artist across the board. I mean, I have others that are like right up there that I've loved dearly. But Miss Margaret, she can really slap a face together, can't she?
Oh my God. Yes, she can. She is an iconic makeup artist.
no, seriously. So having her in the room really made me feel safe. It's like I'm with my Margaret. I'm with Margaret, who's known me thick and thin, hell and high water. And then obviously working with you. Um,
But you had to be nervous. Like, what is this boudoir photographer going to do with my photos? You
no,
know?
no, I mean, you had the light. If you didn't have the light, then it would be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. I mean, the light is imperative, period, the end, but as you get older as well, it's more important because there's nothing worse than seeing a picture of yourself and going, oh shit, look at those wrinkles. But you
Oh,
had that light. You had that light and you also were very encouraging. So as far as like stepping back in after a couple years going, I mean, it feels like home to be in front of a camera for me. Although, like I said, when you're feeling it and then you look at your picture and you're going, shit, look at that belly. So that's where you have to really fight yourself to just kind of continue on. And thank God for like retouching and stuff like that.
I know. Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, but listen, I hardly had to retouch you. Are you kidding? Like, there
I
was no body
did
morph.
tell you did too.
No, I don't think I did. Like, I did not morph any part of you, just so you know. That is all you. And for me, it's important because I did not want to waste my time as a photographer because time is money. And
Yeah.
so getting it right in camera is really important to me. And so I feel like posing and capturing the
Exactly.
right angles, and you
Yeah.
know your angles. So I honestly, I did not have to retouch
Well,
hardly anything.
liar, liar, pants on fire.
I am not lying. Listen, people watching, just know she was not hardly retouched.
Hardly. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. So what advice would you give to women who want to embrace their own sense of power and confidence in front of my camera
In front of your camera.
or any camera, but hopefully
Well,
mine?
number one, if you're in front of Stacie's camera, you're very lucky. All right. Let's face it. She's got that light. She's got the eye. She is compassionate and she can commiserate and she's very considerate for all
Oh,
your needs. Number two, get Margaret Avery to slap your face together. All right. Um, yeah. If you're lucky, you got that dynamic duo.
yeah.
Uh,
And the thing I loved about Margaret too is if you utilize her services, make sure you're getting her to stay through the whole session so that she can keep adding to the look.
yeah.
She's a master at that.
Oh yeah. No, seriously. And then when you step on set, remember that's a different you. So that you that's hiding here, that you that's like, gee, I wish I was like that, or I'll never be considered this, or maybe the one that when you dream, you see yourself as, that you can come out, right? I mean, that you should come out anyway, right?
Yeah.
In a real world. But when you're in a studio, it's like playtime. It's playtime.
Oh, so important to have playtime as an adult. We don't give ourselves that opportunity as
No,
much as we should, I don't think. But a photography session is the perfect opportunity to do
it
so.
really is. It really is.
It is, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a model, you're an everyday woman, a housewife who needs to just feel a little glamour for a moment. And it's expressing your alter ego, which we all have that.
No, it's true.
So,
I do believe, like you were saying, expressing your glamour. Like, for instance, that woman I was telling you about that I saw in the video, and she was expressing her glamour. She felt like $1,000,000. You could see it. How often maybe would she have done that before? Right.
right.
And so you're right. I mean, there's women, we sit there, there's so many women out there that, maybe work two jobs. They've got the kids at home. Maybe they're single. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're in a shitty relationship. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're suffering mental health. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're like just really scraping those pennies together. Maybe they're not. But they are doing everything else, you know, even being like that mom driving around, just whatever it is. And then maybe you're around friends. Like when I lived in California, I had some great friends there, but in Los Angeles, it's really about what you look like and how you present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be really like downtrodden, one of those girls. So it's time for you to embrace yourself, set yourself free. It's very, very important to have those moments where you can see yourself as everybody else sees you.
You know, when I have lived places like that, one of the reasons I love New York City so much is that I didn't really see an escape route from my youth to an older woman, let's say, because
Yeah.
I felt like it was so looks obsessed in like Vegas or LA that I couldn't comfortably move into who I was to become, especially looks wise, you
Yeah.
know? And I feel like in New York City, you're allowed more to be who you want to be here, and still be considered an interesting, valuable member of society, whether you have had plastic surgery or not.
I mean, my whole life, and I've lived everywhere. I do have favorite cities, but this is the top. And, it's interesting that you brought that up because I was speaking to my boyfriend the other day and I was like, New York City, look at everybody. They're wearing whatever they want. They're presenting themselves however they want. And they look great. This is the only city around the world that gets top slot at letting people be exactly who they are.
Yes. I noticed that though in Paris as well.
So, New
I
York.
think you're right.
Yep.
Also, San Francisco.
San Francisco, I mean, New York wins, though. Sorry. And favorite city.
What do you think younger generations can learn from our generation? And is there anything they're doing now that you admire and wish we had done?
What can they learn from us? The fault of not saving your money. Number one. Number two, they can learn from us that when we say time is flying or time flies, that we mean it, and that you got to embrace it. If they listen, right? I mean, we didn't listen. I didn't listen. What they can learn from us is that you're actually as young as you feel. Right?
Isn't that the truth? That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful answer. So, do you want to talk about your current job? Because you had mentioned that, but we're a little mysterious on it.
Well, I mean, I will actually because it's funny. It's a plot twist. Now, I've had a life of plot twists, and the plot twist became even more twisty as time carried on, and the twist really like hit the Richter scale, like really just went off the chart when I left that situation that I referred to earlier, that horrifying situation. And I've been thinking, side note, I've been thinking that maybe I will write because I do have a thought on everything that I've done to survive.
Oh, yes.
That,
Do it.
right? That would be a good one, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah.
you know the story. So anyway, what was it, about a year ago? I don't even know long. I was in a job because I had to get a normal job. And I landed here. I came here. I was given $400 and I had 10 days. I just finally said, I just can't take it. This is not going to be my story. So I ended up doing all manner of everything. And I found myself as the VP of sales for a tech company that dealt in the jewelry industry. Now, I wasn't very happy there because, I mean, I thought I was doing a good job. I'm really good with people, but maybe it wasn't what they were looking for. Maybe I just didn't gel. Maybe it was like the different cultures. Maybe it was the diamond industry. The diamond industry is pretty damn tough. So I was looking elsewhere and I came across this ad to be a TikTok host. Now, TikTok, September of this past year, not this September, the year before, they just launched their shopping initiative for the site. And they'd never done that before. And they had like, I think 1,200 shops. And so the company that I was hired by was one of those companies that were able to get a shop. So they hired me and we started out with jewelry because, they're new as well. They're a startup as well. And so they were investigating. We did the jewelry and kind of was like, whatever, we stuck to it. And then the boss left town and went back to where she's from and then came back and we started up again. And it was really hard because I had that day job and then I would go do the night job. The granted, I was making more money, which was kind of nice, but I was dying. And I really preferred the evening. So we talked and I would say to her, I was like, man, I wish this was full time because you know what? It's in front of the camera. So it's actually quite funny because I stand in front of the camera and I'm a live creator influencer of this new medium. I have my own pajama line. It's a pajama store and it's totally goofy. It's totally different, but I love it. Again, I'm in front of the camera. I'm working with the team. They're all young. So I'm literally the elder. And I'll say that to him, I'm your elder, you know, but I feel their age. So it's kind of odd. And it's been interesting. It's been a growing experience because, at first I think that they were, no disrespect to me, but I think they were thinking, well, maybe she's too old for this endeavor. But then they hired me. And because of my background, I imagine, because it's kind of like, it's actually quite powerful. You can use that for a lot.
Yeah.
And then they discovered that actually it works really well. And so I have the only little shop that does that. And apparently the powers that be feel that I am the best bet for all creators and influencers.
Wow. I mean, listen, I stumbled across it maybe accidentally one day, or maybe you sent me the link and I checked you out, but I was so impressed, Julie. I don't know how you do this. You are on and you are interesting, like a true proper spokesmodel. That is a spokesmodel position. So
Yeah.
one day we'll see you on QVC.
No, but this is the modern QVC. That's the thing. It's
Is.
the modern one. And the funniest thing ever, and it's so cute, like the woman I mentioned that I saw in the video, she is one of my fans. So I have fans. So I have these women that come in. I don't know where they're from. I mean, they're from Nebraska, they're from Utah, they're from Texas. And sometimes I feel bad for them. It's like, wait a minute, they're tuning in to hang out with me. Like, what's going on at home? But they do tune in and hang out with me. They hang out with me for these 8-hour shows. You know,
You're a blast there. Seriously, they should want to hang out there.
Yeah, so I have my ladies that come in and they'll hang out for 8 hours. And what's great is they'll chime in, like they'll go, ladies, you've got to get this one. I've got this, I've got that. They're amazing. Julie's great. It's so funny.
Oh, have fun.
So funny. And it is fun. It's very hard work though. I mean, it's kind of like the easiest job you can have in a lot of ways because my company is really good to me. They've got a fill-in who's great co-host, and I can sit down, I can give a little rest off my feet, but in that regard it's easy. Like I said, we do videos, we do all of that other creative stuff, but it's very hard as well because you're standing there for however long. Like I think we've got me down to like 3-hour stints, 3 hours, then it's 1.5, then it's 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Right, so through a show. But when you're on, you're on. I mean, you're looking right down that barrel of the camera and you're looking right into whoever's eyes and you're selling them whatever the dream is of whatever it is that you have to sell them, whether it be the community, the vibe, the product. But you have to sell them the vibe and the community. You have to sell yourself. Otherwise, they're not coming back.
Yeah, I could see that too. And you're just a total expert at this. I love it. Would you care to give the information on how people can go and buy some pajamas from you?
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's called Shop with Julie on TikTok. Oh my God, I didn't tell you. So now I have pajamas named after Shop with Julie. So their exclusive collection. Isn't that funny? And then we have other creators that are now using my pajamas on their store.
Oh.
So total compliment kind of thing. So, I mean, it's a plot twist. I mean, everybody's putting a lot of time and effort into it. It's interesting to meet the powers that be at TikTok and all of that stuff. It's very interesting to be my age and be in new media. And I still have an agent. I still have that, the modeling at my fingertips. But something, honestly, it's such a pain in the ass now. You cannot, there used to be casting directors. You would go in there, they'd have the cameras, the lights, you do your thing, you do your slate, you take your pictures, blah, 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 done. I mean, it would still take time. It would probably take about 4 hours out of your day because you got to get yourself ready. You got to go over the script or whatever it is, go
Oh,
there, maybe
wow.
write a line, whatever. Now they send you castings. Get this. This is different than a lot of what like the Instagram influencers encounter maybe, and a lot of obviously the big ones. But now they'll send you this. Like for instance, I had a pharmaceutical company reach out for a casting. I had to video myself 6 ways, and I didn't do this. 6 ways from left, right, and center. I had to take 1,000 pictures, left, right, and center. I had to whatever read a script, left, right, and center. They were going to pay $500 for the day session and $1,500 to use all of that shit for the rest of eternity.
The budget has gone so far down.
It's not even, Stacie. It's not even. So
The
I tell my girls that too. I tell them it's like, who needs that shit? Go out and get an education. Do something else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not just models that are suffering from all of that. It's photographers too.
Yeah.
It's not easy, this creative world we're in right now.
Not anymore, especially in the fashion industry. Now, I don't know. Well, actually, you know what? I do know the acting industry is now also pretty screwed.
I've heard that as well. And I think part of the problem is they are relying on influencers. So it's like you have to have a certain amount of following before you can be a musician, an actress, a model, all of these things.
And the thing about the following, okay, girls and guys that are listening to this, if you are listening to this, that is another bullshit thing. You can buy followers. All these clients are doing is they're looking at it and they're going, okay, you've got 20,000 followers, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. Boom, you're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's silly.
Why would somebody from the middle of nowhere or somebody from sitting in New York City in their apartment on Washington Street have 1 million followers? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe you would if you're like, I don't know, Marilyn Monroe back in the day, but
Yeah,
literally, you know what I'm saying?
the average person is not likely to have that, but I see other portrait photographers who have that kind of following, and I know that they bought those follows. And I just think, I mean, I've questioned myself, like, should I do this so that when people look at me, they think I'm legit?
Yep.
But I can't do that because I only want quality followers. I only want people who really are invested in what I'm doing. So,
Yeah. But anyway, that's just the trend. It's weird. I mean, the bubble will probably burst. It's got to burst, or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be, but what will be the next thing? I mean, the next thing is always coming. Maybe the next thing will just be AI. I mean, that's kind of sneaking around the corner, isn't it?
you know what I hope it is? I hope it's instead of typing things out that we can just leave voice messages on all social media. I'm so over having to like really think about what I'm typing just to communicate simple things on people's posts.
You've recommended that I start writing more things, but I'm that person who again will feel like, oh, nobody gives a shit about what I'm thinking about.
Listen, to anybody watching this, go buy Julie's books and let's encourage her to start writing more because you have such a beautiful voice. You have so many things we can all learn from.
Visit the website, feminineculture.com.
Perfect. Thank you for bringing that up. So lastly, for women looking to embrace their individuality and live more authentically, I would like to recommend Julie's essay, Kick the Bitch Out. In it, you give great advice for quieting your inner critic and creating a more positive inner champion. One of the lessons is choosing your own inner circle more carefully, for which I completely agree and is one of the reason we are talking here today. So I want to thank you for being here with us and thank you for being my friend and just an awesome woman that people can aspire to be like, really, and follow in your footsteps.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. So what is next for you? What can we expect following along on your journey? Please say more writing.
I mean, I'm getting there. Like I said, I had that thought. I haven't had thoughts in a long time. Once I escaped my scenario, I mean, I had to hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the ground running, so there wasn't any space for that. But yeah, that's where the stories are usually, and this is sad. Usually where trauma is, that's where the stories are.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, unless maybe you're a fiction writer, which I'm not. So I'm not in trauma right now, but I am ready to like face a lot of things.
Maybe through poetry, you can express some of that without being as obvious. And I don't know if we even mentioned your poetry, but please, if you are interested in amazing poetry, get Julie's book, Secrets and Lies. Oh my God. It is so good. It is so good. There's some sexy, erotic poems in here, but super deep experiences that many women probably can relate to. So,
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
yeah.
So I mean, I told Stacie before she read my stuff, I was like, get your glass of wine ready, sit down, strap in the seatbelt, because it's trippy. It's intense.
You know what? Listen, I grabbed my Pablo Neruda
Uh-huh.
books because I can see some of the themes even that he talks about are, I don't know, there's just something about your writing that reminded me some of his poetry, which is like, I think, a high compliment to you. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then again, do you have any other volumes of the Feminine Collective?
I do have, I mean, I published a book from one of my favorite authors, one of my dear friends, it's called Memoirs of a Legal Courtesan. And that's another one that I recommend everybody read. This is from my author, Shanti Patty Owen. She's incredible.
Oh, I can't wait to read that. And maybe one day I'll get to talk to her.
Mm-hmm. It's in the works. I have other books that I published from other authors that are pretty amazing. And then I have this one right here that's another compilation of writings. And this one, the proceeds went to mental health programs.
And Love Notes from Humanity?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Julie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Stacie.
Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation with the amazing Julie Anderson. Her journey, her wisdom, and her deep authenticity are truly inspiring, and I hope you feel as moved by her story as I do. If you're feeling inspired to step into your own femme fatale power, I would love to work with you. Whether it's through a portrait session or something a bit more daring like boudoir or fine art nudes, you can contact me through my website to start creating something truly special together. And don't forget, if you know a powerful woman in the New York City area who you think embodies the essence of a femme fatale, I'd love to hear from you. This series is all about celebrating women who live life on their own terms, women who navigate the world with strength and grace. So if you have someone in mind, please reach out. Thanks again for listening. And remember, the femme fatale lives inside all of us, waiting to be celebrated.